Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Latino Comics Expo Worldwide. My name is Simone Moffett, and I'm the graphic designer here at the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach, California. I'd like to thank you for joining us today as we celebrate Latinx and comics. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the event sponsors that have made it possible for this week-long event free of charge. Here's a brief welcome from our presenting sponsor, Hyundai.
On behalf of Hyundai Motor America, we welcome you to the 2020 Latino Comic Expo. As part of our Hispanic Heritage Celebration, we are thrilled to sponsor this great event. We hope that you enjoy the amazing Latino talent that will be featured.
Additional support for this event was provided by San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, the Josephine S. Gumbiner Foundation, the Robert Gumbiner Foundation, the City of Long Beach, and the Arts Council of Long Beach. Today we have a really amazing session on zines and a workshop that's going to be conducted by Isabel Ann Castro, a visual artist from the south side of San Antonio, Texas. She has a BFA in communication design from Texas State University. She's also the co-founder of Santa Sucia, a do-it-yourself international Latina Latinx feminist magazine that collected, curated, and published contemporary writing and art. She co-organizes San Antonio Zine Fest and is a zine librarian, publishing a Rascate library made out of a yellow shopping cart. Isabel spins with Chulita Vinyl Club San Anton as Bueno Kitty and collects Tejano Conjunto music from 1940 to 1980 in order to archive, preserve, and share history and culture through corridos. I'd like to introduce you to today's fantastic artist, Isabel.
Hey, everybody. Can y'all hear me? You can hear me? Okay, cool.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay. Hi, so I'm Isabel Ann Castro, and I'm a zine maker and an illustrator and a zine librarian. Mom, go away. Okay. So this is my first time doing a workshop online. Normally I'm there in person, and I can you can touch and look at zines and flip through them, but I'm just gonna try and highlight a couple Latinx made zines before we actually get started on the workshop. And so this is important for you to see that zines come in all shapes and sizes, textures. And so there's a lot of really wonderful zines that have been made by my friends that I've collected from all over and that are now part of our zine library, which is housed here in my house. But pre-COVID, I was taking it out in a yellow shopping cart to punk shows and house parties and just like little DIY spots where anybody would let me set up and people could read through zines. And so one of the most amazing things about zines is it's DIY, and it kind of lets you play around with stuff a little bit, and you can do this frugally. You don't need a lot of money to make zines. I think there's like a misconception about that you need to have access to a lot of stuff, but I think if you're kind of thrifty, you can figure it out and make some really cool stuff. And I can talk a little bit about that later, but let me kind of show y'all some zines. Let's see. So we'll be making a mini zine today. And so these are normally like 8.5 by 11 zines that are folded. Let me put that up there. And so they can really be about anything. When you're DIYing this stuff, you don't ever really have to, you don't have advertisers, and so there's nobody really monitoring your content or editing it unless you ask a friend like, hey, can you read through this and check my spelling and grammar. But you can really make them about whatever you want. And so here's a zine that a really awesome nonprofit called Selfless Workers Union here in San Antonio. They're awesome. They made a zine called Food as Medicine, and it comes with some really cool little recipes like a prickly pear cactus salad. And so this is something that they produced, that they printed, folded up, and gave out for free, and I was able to grab one. Here's one by our friend Linda, made by Mr. Linda, and this was from 2018. It's called Words on the Edge of Tomorrow, a mini dictionary of terms from Star Trek. And so this is a collage style zine that Linda made. And it's super cool. I'm more Star Wars, but I totally respect Star Trek and everything that show has produced, because I have a lot of friends who are super into it. And so if I do get into it, the zine is gonna help me. So some mini zines can be about pop culture stuff, and I have other pop culture stuff here too. So this is by our friend Brina, and so it's almost like Simpsons, and this one's really cool. So these are illustrations that Brina did. And Brina has also been at Latino Comics Expo, but this is a mini zine that also has a poster on the other side, which is Yo Soy Lisa. And so this is a really cool mini zine. I don't know if Brina puts it out anymore, but I got one, so I'm really happy. This is a mini zine by our friend Manny Bang here in San Antonio. And Manny does a lot of gardening stuff, like gardening zines. And so this is about, it's called Turn Up the Beat. And so these mini zines are super cool, because if you know a lot of stuff about a certain topic, you can like put all that information in here and like easily share it. And so I've made zines, and when I travel, I'll kind of leave them on bus stops or subways or at restaurants, and you know, somebody picks it up, and then my contact information is on there. And so someone's like, "Hey, I found this on the subway and it made me cry." And I was like, "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry, but you know, I'm glad that you felt something." Here's a mini zine about a music zine that's called The Best of Rev. And it's like Revolution Records, a new morality zine. My homie over there, it's about like hardcore records that came out from Revolution Records. This one's also double-sided, and it has like a bunch of flyers and stuff. And so that's pretty cool. Okay, so other different size zines. So Chicle Zine is from Dallas, and they're super cool. And so they do a lot of like Latina empowerment zines and talking about personal issues, and they're just so rad. And so they release their zines, but then it also comes with a mini. You can see the size difference there. So this is kind of like for everyone, but then they made a special zine for tweens, like not teenagers. And so this one's like about red flags and talking about romantic and platonic relationships and consent. And it's just like a super cool mini zine. This one's also double-sided. So pretty cool. And doing double-sided zines like that isn't that hard. You just need an extra sheet of paper. And when you put them in the printer, you print the first side, and then you take it out and flip it and do the other side. Let's see. So other varieties of zines as they get bigger that you can play around with. This one has like a foil stamp on it. And so this one's really awesome. It's called from Holy Press, our friend Lisette Chavez, who's super awesome. It has that foil stamp, Men Who Look Like Satan. And a lot of her work has to do with like religion and stuff, and like a lot of Catholic guilt, and just super cool work, but really great illustrations. So I guess that's Clark Gable, who looks like Satan. But it's super cool. And his is under like Holy Press. So you don't even have to like use your name. You can kind of come up with your own little business. Let's see. So here's an example of like larger double-sided zines. And so these are folded differently. So this one's by Galileo Gonzalez and Kim Pascual. And so they did a collaborative zine. So if you're nervous about doing a zine by yourself, you can get together with a friend and kind of like you take a page each, you know, one page this person, the other page another, and you can kind of like create some cool stuff. And so this is a poster that's on the other side. Notice this one doesn't have a cut in it, it's just folded. And then here is the same type of folded zine, but it's by Ada Facosta, one of my friends here in San Antonio. And this is like a limited edition zine, so it's like 7 out of 20. He only made 20 of them. So they're like limited edition, so I had to get it. But this is kind of the same thing, but instead of illustration, this one has photographs of like his friends and his kids, and then this is kids like hanging out outside a ice cream truck, which is super cool. It's kids are great. So you can kind of really do like illustrations, like pencil stuff. You can work with pens. You can even like work graphically, or you can do photograph zines. Here's a zine from my friend John Garza, who I believe lives in Phoenix, and he does a lot of really cool ink marker illustrations. Super cool. He's been doing a lot of meals and stuff lately. And so zines are kind of like a really great place that he works out his ideas. Like, I don't know if this zine was exactly like planned or just kind of filled it with illustrations and was like, wow, I'll make a zine out of that. So there's, it was me and my friend Natasha Hernandez who worked on it. She's the editor, I'm art director. And then we got work submitted in. And so we were able to collect and curate all of it and really like compile the files and put them into a booklet. But there's like our zine looked like this. But here's like another zine where it's like the Chingo zine from Austin, really awesome collective. They were running the zine, but then they had like a whole list of artists and contributing to it. And so you can kind of see the work that's coming out. And there's some really cool people on this list. Michael Mentaka, Vincent Valdez, Susie. So Zeke Peña, who was just on Latino Comics Expo yesterday, he's on here. Yeah, so pretty cool. So I'm losing track. So that was one of the zines that they had like a ton of contributors with. And then here's one that's like just, we find one that doesn't have a customer. Yeah, so here's one that's just kind of like the creators themselves. They put out special issues that was just them. I'm sorry, I've been like ignoring the questions. Oh, what kind of paper is that? I don't know which zine that was. But here's like another photo zine is by our friend Carlos Aguilar, No More Parties in SA. And it's just like places around San Antonio, like Squeeze Box, local bar. But yeah, like you can really make zines about anything. So here's another photo zine. This one, I think, was just like digital photos like on his phone. But some people have like those Fuji film cameras. And so this is like snap zines. And so these were taken on one of those Fuji film cameras. And so let's see. So you can see instead of like cropping it, like they left the border of it. Oh, private, I got a question. Q&A from Andy. Loving the zines, where can we find these in COVID times? So if you saw like a particular zine that you really want to own, you can message me on Instagram at Queen of Tacos TX, and I'll tell you exactly where to get it. A lot of times, people can order zines on Etsy, or artists have their own stores. So like Chingo Zine, they have their own website, or you can like order via email. I don't know if Carlos has a store. So like it's hard to kind of pick up zines now, but like, cause we would do it through Zine Fest and markets and like comic expos and stuff. And so it's been maybe like a little difficult. I've gotten like 2 zines during COVID that I ordered online. You kind of search through Instagram, you can look up like hashtag zines, Latinx zines. There's even a great hashtag called Latinx Create on Twitter. And you can kind of look, like see people who are illustrating and drawing and painting and doing all this really cool stuff. And you can find them through there. It's kind of like hard to answer that because everybody's like on different types of websites and stuff. And so not everyone's on Etsy. Like I'm not on Etsy. Here's another really cool zine. This one's not double-sided. It's like Botas Mágicas, and it's super cute. And it's like the moon is telling like Don Pedro baile, and then like he has his little beats and he starts dancing. And it's just super cute. It's probably like one of my favorite zines. It's very warm because I like looking at it. And there's that guy, you know, boogieing. And so let's see, how much time do I have? Okay, we still have time. We're only 15 minutes in. Okay, so I can get to go through the rest of the collection. So zines don't always have to look just like a little folded booklet. Here's a zine from our friends at Worship, who are local here in San Antonio. I think they have like worship.bigcartel.com. So this one is Cronenberg, like the director. And so they built they just they're out of their minds at worship. And so they made like a VHS tape. And so it comes apart. And every time I open it, something falls out. So I'm kind of afraid like it's gonna do that. But so it opens up to this whole booklet. But see, that fell out. Okay. So the VHS was the cover. And then I don't know what that was. Here's my grandma. Okay. And so they had contributors in this, and it's like held together with this one long sheet. And then there's all of these different contributors and writers. Where do we get these printed? So worship was probably printed, I think, at Carlos's house. He has like 3 printers that I know of. And then I think Vicky has 1. Like I have 1 printer. You can print your zines like at the FedEx store, at Office Depot. You can go to a printer. And so really like the more you print and like the more complicated it is, the more expensive it gets. And then like the more you print, the cheaper it gets, but it's like, you know, if you're ordering 1,000. And so if you're just starting, like making a mini zine is super easy. Like I'll go ahead and tell you, look, this is all paper, different color paper, different weights of paper, and most of it is thrifted. I go to like thrift stores, even like pre-COVID, or like estate sales and stuff, and there's just office supplies. And so they're just kind of already pre-opened. So I got like different neon greens, different yellows, or buy like, see, like this is from the thrift store. It's fine parchment paper. It looks all fancy, like constitutionally. It's 80 sheets for $1.91, and I'm pretty sure I got it half off. And so it was just super cheap. And so I could make 80 zines out of that, or even kind of like, if I do like 2 zines per page, I can like cut it and make it weird. And so you kind of just figure out like where you can get stuff, like staples. There's always like a bag of staples at the thrift store. You can buy a long arm stapler, sometimes super cheap. But yeah, like there's different types of paper you can snag for super cheap. If you want cardstock for your cover, you can like find that, or you can like just go buy it new. It's a little expensive, but I recommend being super frugal, because then, especially if you're getting started, because then you can kind of mess around and see what works for you and find out what you actually like, and you do it on a budget. And so if there's just something like with Holy Press, where Lisette did a foil stamp, that's kind of what that you can do. And so these can really look like anything. They can be made of anything. Like this one Cronenberg zine has so many different paper textures. Like this is cardstock, and then this is cardstock. This feels like newsprint. And so they're all just kind of stapled in. And so there's different weights and stuff that you can mix together and then put it all together. I got to put it back in the VHS. I'm afraid I'm going to rip it. And then, you know, you can put it in whatever. I bought a zine for my friend Rambo, who he sold his zine in a Whataburger cup. Like, I guess he was just eating Whataburger and then like saved his styrofoam cup. So when you bought it, he's like, oh, here you go. And it was just like in this cup, and there was paint on it. It's supposed to look like fake blood. It was like for a party thing. And so when you opened it up, there was like the zine, but on the Whataburger cup, it says like 1 of 10. And so I ended up throwing away the Whataburger cup because it got crushed. I wish I could have saved it, but I'm pretty sure like my mom thought it was trash, or I thought it was trash, and it got all crumpled up. But okay. Oh, another question. Oh, has anyone tried doing an online zine? Yeah, you can do online zines. There's a website called Issue that's really cool. It kind of puts all your stuff in booklet form. And you can kind of really get a look at what you're doing before you even go to print. Or maybe there's like a special issue. You're working on a print zine, but then you want to do something like fairly quickly. You can release a digital zine and like save that and make it downloadable. People can even try and print them out through Gumroad. So I don't have that zine with me. Maybe I do. Where is it? Here it is. So some artists, they actually have not just like websites and stores, but they have Gumroad, and that's a way where you can create a digital mini zine to download. And so this was a really cool Juneteenth zine by Haley Powers about Juneteenth, and this was available for download. And so I just needed to have a printer, and it was 2 pages. And so this is one of those things where I printed out the first page, and then I took that same page, put it back in the printer upside down, and then it printed the other side. And so yeah, like you can do that if you don't have access to a printer yourself, but you want people to be able to get it. They just have to be able to have access. So we did the Cronenberg zine, but also by the same people. They did a Wayne's World zine. And so this is another cool pop culture zine that was collaborative, that featured comics and stuff. That was really cool. And so see, like these are 2 different, they're pop culture, but there's 2 different zines. And then let's see, this is like Felipe Flores. He knows a lot about The Simpsons. And so he drew the Simpsons characters as like actual human beings. And it's kind of freaky. There's like Krusty and Abraham J. Simpson. And so there's like some write-ups in here. It tells like a little backstory, but yeah, the Trabajo Guide to The Simpsons. Let's see what else I got. Oh yeah, like collage zines are super big. There's a collage zine by my friend Rambo. This one didn't come in the Whataburger cup. I think it came by itself, but this has like pictures from like 70s and 80s like wrestling magazines. And so he just kind of cropped them out. This is like Tacon Zine 2. And so it has like, I think both of them have like a lot of, it's either like funk music or wrestling. And so, yeah, like you can really do whatever you want. There's some illustrations in here that are like collaged in, but he didn't do them. Collaging is kind of like that little mixed part of you're not stealing, but you're kind of stealing, but if it's different enough, it's very weird. I don't really mess with it, but like you can if you want. But also there's like you can write out stuff in text, like Microsoft Word, and then like cut it out. And so this is Muchacha Fanzine. This is really cool. Daisy Salinas, who's super awesome. I think she types them out herself and then kind of puts them on textured background. And so if that's kind of more your thing of like, oh, I got all these magazines from Country Living, I don't know, Mark Stewart. And you can kind of take like the backgrounds in there and then like type out stuff, cut it out and put it over it. Just like before you go to print, double check everything to make sure it's in the order because you don't want to like put something in the wrong place. Let's see. Here's also another awesome zine by our friend Yadi. I think she made a Latino comic expo. No, but this is like about El Salvador. It's like a kind of a photo journal zine, and so you can also like include a lot of personal stuff in there. Yeah, and you could even have like photos of your writing instead of like typing it out or writing it directly into the zine. You can kind of like collage it into there. Benji Escobar, super cool, super talented. I get like real jelly and just like I'm in awe of like all these people who just create like amazing text work. And like zine making is really awesome because you can mess up and it be like bad, but like so bad it's good. Not that Benji Escobar is like that, but yeah, like you can just kind of really mess around. And like even if you mess up on it, it's kind of like comic books with like the variant covers where you're like, oh, I want like the good version and the messed up version because like, you know, just to have all of them. And so I've had a few people buy messed up zines from me where it's like, oh, this is messed up and I was going to discount it. And they're like, no, I'll buy that like full price. And you're like, oh, okay. So this is Marisa Torres and Marisa Del Toro, and it's like Art History 101 Chicanos. And so like Marisa Del Toro is an art historian and Marisa is an illustrator and artist. And so together they like collabed on the zine to highlight living Chicano artists. It's awesome. There's zines about like personal experience, being half Guatemalan from Brina. Let's see. Oh, and then so here's a zine that is super cool. So this was La Chapter zine, Central American based zine with like artists and just so wonderful. And so this is the difference of like February 2018. I think they self-printed this one. And so it's a larger size. It's super cool. But then I think they started going to a printer. And so this is what they had next. The binding is different. It's pretty cool. I don't know, I'm just so proud of them. I just love them so much. I'm just like kind of friends with a lot of these people, and I just like super love and respect all of them. Let's see. There's some really cool comic zines from Pena Comics. Like, I want to believe in myself. From Magic Pena, super cool. I think this one's like a risograph, which is like a special type of printer. I don't know how to use it. I want to risograph something, but it can be kind of expensive, or you got to know somebody who has access to one, and you got to hope that like they know how to use it. And so I know somebody. Alan, if you're out there, I'd like to do a collab with you. So here's like a collection of zines that I have from Julia Arredondo, who's super cool, artist from Corpus Christi who now lives in Chicago. And so there's kind of a different variety. So it's like The Guide to Being Broke and Fabulous. And this was cool because so it's stapled together, but then she put this like little cow print over it. And it's just like little touches like that that make it super cool. So this is just like How to Be Broke and Fabulous. What else we got? Let's see. She did The Guide to Dating Gangsters, Volume 2. I don't think I own Volume 1, but like, you know, dating a greaser, real silly stuff. Let's see. A New Love, Incantation, and Intercourse for a New Relationship. And this one had like 3 contributors, and it's pretty awesome, lots of collage work. The Guide to Being Alone. And so like this is all being kind of by the same person, that they all look different, but then there's kind of just like, because it's made by her, it's gonna have her style. And so don't worry about trying to have a certain style. You can look at other zines and be inspired, and then kind of figure out what your vibe is. And so like Easy Magic. And so she does a lot of like collage stuff. I think this one's a risograph print too. Maybe not, I don't know. Or screen printed. They touch it. That's another thing, like touching paper, you kind of get into that during zines. You're like, oh, this is smooth, or it's toothy. You kind of get really into it. Yeah, so this is like really cool. So she has those zines. This is a larger, this is by our friend Arlene Mejorado, who's from LA, lives in San Antonio, now back in LA. This is a pulga here in San Antonio, and it's like a photograph zine that she did. And it was put out by Deep Red Press, I think is Fort Worth. But, you know, it's just like a lot of documentation photos of people who sell or go to the flea market. This one's like not as close to my house. This is very different. Like they have, and so it's like people trying to stunt, looking cute in all these outfits. But yeah, this is just like a documentary type zine that just wanted to show people. And these can be as big or as small as you want. I have zines that I folded that are like an inch big. I don't know where they're at, so they're around. And this is like a risograph zine that came from an art show. So all of the work in here was part of an art show that they went ahead and put into, my dog's barking, that they put into this zine that was risograph printed. And so it's cool. I was able to snag one. I have a few of Alan Cerno's zines. But yeah, so this is Alan and Jesus Trevino. That's the information. They're super cool. Yeah, so this kinds of other zines, I think it's 1:30, so here, so I think we should get started with our workshop. Let me see if there's any questions. Why did they create zines instead of graphic novels? It's a really good question. So I think like people create zines because they're smaller and you can like kind of finish it out quickly or make it part of a series. Graphic novels are like really long extended comic books. And so those are kind of harder to make, or this is kind of like a real frugal way of putting stuff out, because graphic novels have a lot of sheets of paper in them. And so you can either like kickstart a lot of like graphic novel anthologies that I know that have gotten started. they have to like do a quick Kickstarter and you have to like front that money for it to be produced. But with zines, you know, if you work at an office and there's an unattended copy machine, you can bring your own colored paper and just like put up your little mini zine files and just kind of print them while no one's there, and then like keep them back to your desk and then fold them up at home and sell them. But like doing a graphic novel is kind of like a lot of money. Yes, I'll teach you how to fold a mini zine for sure. Let's see, other questions. If you're making a collage zine, is there a rule about should it be reworked enough to be unrecognizable? I don't really even mess with like collage zines because I'm real nervous. I think like it's got to be shifted away enough that it's different, but it's not necessarily like, well, you just like cut out an image and then like slapped it on a sheet of paper and we're like, this is mine. Where it's kind of like a piece of a whole that like that you're creating, but you're not just like immediately taking somebody else's work and then like putting it by itself and saying that you created it. Let's see. Oh, let me clear off my desk and then we can get started. So if you don't have a sheet of paper and you want to learn to make a mini zine, go ahead and grab one. You can use any type of paper around, but preferably a white blank sheet of paper. And you know, you can use whatever kind of writing tools you like. I will say that like using different types of markers is a little difficult. You don't want it to like bleed through to the other side, so you can get another. I even like sometimes use Post-it notes and I just place it behind the sheet as I use them. And and then it won't bleed through, and then I'll just take it out when I'm ready to print. So I like making mini zines all the time as like a form of note taking. And so I have like these little booklets and stuff here that I've made, like this is about plants and stuff. And so once you know how to fold a mini zine, you can do it all the time. And so you can use scissors if you like. I'm gonna teach you how to zine on the go. And that means we're gonna lick it instead of cutting it. But if you wanna cut it, you can cut it. Let's see. I hope everyone has like this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Probably the most accessible paper you can find, like at the thrift store or anywhere. You see it being thrown out with recycling, just grab it. It's the wider or taller it'll be. So like this was an 8.5 by 11. And then this one is, I think, an 11 by 14. And see, it's just a little wider. And so whatever size paper you use, that's what you want to put into your printer to reproduce. So if everybody has their sheet of paper, I don't know if y'all can like confirm in the chat that you're ready to go, or I can't see any thumbs up or anything. Yeah, okay, got one. Thank you, Lexi. Oh, thanks for coming, Pat. Okay, awesome. Everybody's ready to go. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So have your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's blank, ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna, I don't know if everybody knows hot dog and hamburger, but that's like a folding technique to teach children how to fold paper. So we're gonna go hot dog. See, it's like long ways to go hot dog. So we're gonna fold it hot dog. You can put it down on your table. And give it a nice sweet corner to corner. Be as precise as you can be. If you're doing this with children, just do the best they can. That's fine. Don't try and like do it for them. Let them try and build these little hand skills. So now you have hot dog, right? So hot dog, and then we're gonna go hamburger. Because if we were going hot dog, it would be like that and be too skinny. So we're gonna go hamburger, and it's gonna go this way. And so again, you're gonna, it's easy to like mess up this fold. The bigger it gets, like you want to have super precise corners. And so we did hot dog, and now we're doing hamburger. Hamburger, okay. And then we're gonna do hamburger again. Wait, hot dog, hamburger, yeah, hot dog, hamburger, hamburger. And so we're gonna fold it in half again. And so match your corners. Oh, my dog is here. Walking by. doing a workshop. Okay, so we got hot dog, hamburger, hamburger. This is where you're at, like 1/8 of the page. Chill, bro. Is someone here? Oh, my uncle's here. He doesn't like him. Rightfully so. Okay, so we got, you end up with like 1/8 of the page. Yes, 1/8 of the page. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to open it back up, and you can see all of your little crease lines. And so what you're going to do is I'm going to get another, you can actually see it. So from this first crease here to this last crease, we're going to either cut this, you can slice it, or you can lick it. And so when I'm zining on the go, I go ahead and lick it. And so you're just trying to create like a little mouth. And so I'm going to go ahead and lick it. And so I'll normally put my fingers here. And so you just want to get like this little mountain. We call this the mountain. And then this is like a valley. And so you're just trying to get it there. And so if you're zining on the go and you don't have scissors, this is what you do. You just run your tongue across it. And then you can put it on the table and see, like, you can see there's like a little wet line there. Sometimes I have paper with me because like I'm an illustrator, I have paper, but then I'm like, oh no, I want to take notes, but it's a lot of notes. And so I just like fold out one of these zines real quick and tongue it. Oh, I just actually skipped a step. My bad. Let me go ahead and cut it. I went ahead. Sorry guys. Okay. Friends. Okay, so now you have this little mouth. It's like Ronald Weasley, you took your stepfather's star. I don't know, J.K. Rowling stuff. Okay, anyway, so you have this, and so what you want to do is take these this middle crease here, and kind of fold it out. This is the tough part, everybody. It's very hard to explain, even in person. And so you pull it apart, and so it kind of comes down, and then it looks like this, right? Hopefully y'all are there. I can't even see y'all, so I don't know if y'all are doing it right. But then you can flatten it. And so now it's like that. And then fold it over. So now you have a little booklet. And so after that, I'll do it again. And so, like I said, you can like cut this. You can have an X-Acto knife. They have like even ceramic blades. Like this is a ceramic blade. It won't cut your skin. Oh God, I did that all crooked. Let me do another one. Sorry. But yeah, so that folding part is a little hard. If you got it, please confirm in the chat so I know you're with me. If you're not with me, it's okay. Let's see. So here we go. So Picos, you're pulling these mountains out. And now we're at a cross. And then you can fold the pages over, align your corners, and then you fold it over and you got a little booklet. So there you can flatten it. And so you got your cover. So this is your cover. And then you have your inside spread. And so this is really cool. You can kind of do an image that goes over both. So you have a couple pages to work on. And so if you were doing one of those double-sided zines, I don't have one with me, let's see. But okay. So here's a zine that I had made. I just folded it up. It's like an X-Men zine. And so these are all drawn from memory and pretty bad. That's why like Wolverine's legs look like that. But yeah, so I kind of like made edits by cutting other little sheets of paper, like where I messed up. And then like I was able to just like paste it over. I don't know if you can see, but I just like pasted it over it and it was fine. And so when I draw this, I picked out some paper and I laid it flat in my printer. And I put in my 8.5 by 11 paper. And so now I have like 2 different color versions of it. And so you can kind of see like the end result of just this one sheet of paper. And so I have a binder of just like a ton of these different types of zines that I've made. And whenever I need more copies to vend at like Zine Fest or any other type of event, I just go ahead and make more copies. Sometimes I change out the paper with my drawer full of different color paper. But yeah, like that's kind of how you make a little mini zine. And so for the rest of the time, if you want to work on it, you can, and I can even like start drawing. And so if you're nervous, you can like open your zine back up. Well, before you open it, go ahead and number them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the back cover is 8. And so you kind of know what's gonna go where. And so it's like 8, 1, 2, 3, and then let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so you can kind of work on it and see what you want to do. You can also start over at any point. Start over. It's a mini zine. It's not an entire graphic novel. You know, don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's part of zine making. Like I printed 200 copies of a zine that had a word misspelled on the front cover, and we didn't know about it until maybe like 3 years in, until somebody was like, hey, this is wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just like, had to play it off like, oh yes, we're aware. There was reasons why we did that. No, I just can't spell. So there's that. Mistakes happen, go along with it. It's zine making, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be super stressful. You can make zines about a lot of personal stuff, or you can make zines about like stuff that you know, or pop culture things. Don't be afraid if like, you know, no one's gonna like this, because there's somebody out there who does. And zine making's been like super fun. It's been of a lot of like all the most amazing trips that I've been on and people that I know is because I got into zine making. The zine community isn't competitive. Everyone's just like hyped about each other's stuff. Like, oh, you made a zine about that. I love that. And like, I don't know, we're all just like hoarders, so we all know how to like collect and like buy everybody's zines, but like zine making is total magic. Ooh, a question. Okay, if you still have pages with 2 sheets to it, does it need? I can also wait for the recording. If you don't have it, pages with 2 sheets to it, maybe I'd have to see what it looks like. But I mean, if it's like there's different ways to fold many things. This is just like a real standard way, but I've seen other ways that kind of like fold out. Like there's flaps that come out. And so if that's how you like your zine, if you end up like kind of working with that and saying that's like a decent format, then like you can go with that. My pages have 2 sheets to it. Oh, so there's a sheet in the middle that has like, and it's like where it folds like that. And so you can just like fold over that. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's just like, you can even like probably cut that and like you'll probably have to staple it, but you could get weird with it. Like there's other ways to fold different types of small zines. And there's another one that I'm trying to figure out, and it's very like it's a different cut and it's kind of complicated, and so it makes designing it a little complicated. What's fun about making zines is like in folding papers, it kind of like works your brain as like an exercise of like when you're doing a booklet style, it's like, okay, this is page 1 and page 8, but page 2 and page 7, and then like a whole nother sheet of papers, page 2 and 3, and that's like 6 and 5, and like trying to like count down and figure that out. It's all a whole brain challenge. And once you get it right, it's super fun. And you may mess it up again. Like I've printed pages actually upside down. But once you kind of start to figure it out, you go with the flow, you kind of figure it out. And you start to like master these like skills. It's super fun. Just like, don't take yourself too seriously making zines. It's all about having fun and expressing yourself and finding cool paper, super discounted, and an unattended copy machine. Let's see, is there any other questions? I can go through the chat. Yes, this video will be on YouTube later. I think on like the MOLA Latino Comic Expo YouTube. You can refer to it. Also, there's other people who make videos about zine making. Check them out. There's zine makers who make zines about how to make a zine. and it's kind of a cool trick. They get you to buy a zine about a folded up piece of paper about folding up other sheets of paper. Yeah, find all of the Latino Comic Expo panels on the MOLA YouTube channel. Yeah, and so if you have any other questions about me or my work, or just questions about printing, what themes have I made zines on? So with Santa Sucia, we made 14 zines. We did zines about, the first couple of issues have a lot to do with identity and sexuality. And then we started doing themes, and that was like a zine me and Natasha worked on and that we loved doing. But we started to get submissions that really pushed us to do different topics. And so we'd get a submission and we're like, oh my gosh, we should do just a whole issue on this topic. And so we did like a coming of age issue, family, reproductive health and justice, immigration. We did a pop culture issue because I was like, hey, these are all really heavy topics. Can we do something fun? And we got to do that awesome issue. And there was like an artist from Austin who did a painting of Ripley from Aliens. And I was like, this is the cover. This is so great. But yeah, like zine making also gave us a lot of really new friends that like just wanted to be a part of what we were doing. And so now when we travel to other cities doing zine fest, we get to meet them in person. Sometimes most of the time we're staying with people who've been in our zines. And so it's just like a whole new network of friends and people who like feel like family. Like I just love them all so much. Let's see. Can you add more to the mini zines and staple them? Yes, you can. You can totally add whatever you want. I've done like a note-taking zine where I had filled up the booklet notes, and it was like a food trailer. I don't know why I thought my mom was gonna retire from like school and as a teacher, and like we were gonna open a spaghetti food trailer. So I went to like this small business thing, but I had taken all these notes about like, you know, food trailer business stuff, and I had to add a page. And so I ended up just like getting another piece of paper right then and there and just like slicing it together. And I always have like a glue stick and eraser and like pens on me. And so I had just like glued it in on like a little flat here in like the center. And then I later went back and stapled it, but it was like, that also was like a fold out, like it folded out like 3 times. And so I was able to like do the front of that and the back of that. And so you can always add however you want, like that Cronenberg zine is such a great example because there's stuff stapled in and there's stuff glued in. Like this is like another whole thing that was glued and then stapled here. But you can add whatever you want to your zines, and nobody can tell you that's not right. Everything's right in zine making, even when it's wrong. Let's see. Let's see. Anyone collecting zines into larger anthologies? So there's like publishing companies that end up like if you think about, what is it, Riot Girl was a zine, like what, the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, and that was like a feminist punk rock zine. And now you can get all of, like, you can't, I don't know, maybe like on eBay, you can get like a printed, one of their zines that's originally printed or like a copy of it. But I think like a publisher took all of their zines and like published them as a book. And so that was like really crazy because I don't know if like that's the first time anybody's ever done that. Some zines have actually become like real magazines. So there's like Giant Robot, that was like a Japanese American magazine from Southern California that became like a 4 times a year like actual magazine printed on like glossy paper. Like Bitch magazine, they started off as a zine. Oh yeah, thanks Natasha for helping out. Yeah. But yeah, like if you start a zine, you never know where it's gonna go. You should keep a personal archive for yourself. I give out zines for free. I also sell them for $1. And so like sometimes I just like leave them places and you never know who's gonna find it. It's just like super fun. Like these even can be like stocking stuffers for like Christmas or whatever holiday. Mini zines are just like a really great way to start. Something I've made like coloring zines where I intentionally, instead of putting it on colored paper, I printed it on white paper. And so I have a little cousin, my cousin Rachel, she has a daughter, Corelli, and like she was here visiting, and she was kind of like just like antsy about being. She has a little sister, but her sister's too small. But she was just like, I want stuff to do, and so I like really quickly drew her a bunch of animals on a mini zine, and then I made a copy of it and I gave it to her to color, and like she just like lost it because I drew her on the cover of it, and she was just like, oh my god, like that's me, and here's a rabbit and a dog, and she just loved it, and her family loved it too. So they made copies of it to like hand out to her school friends, and I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, but like do whatever you want with zines. If you want to make little coloring zines, cool. You want to write poetry about your feelings, do that too. Natasha asks, what projects are you working on next? We want a new graphic novel. Oh, let's see. I'm working on a graphic novel. I feel like I have ideas for a graphic novel, but I haven't super often fleshed them out. Currently, me, Natasha Hernandez, our friend Allison Alonso, and she's an awesome R&B singer, and then just like hilarious woman, and then our friend Carlos Aguilar from like Worship. We're working on a web series, and it's my fault that things are behind because I haven't written edits. But yeah, what zine making has shown me is that like you can figure out anything. And so don't let things like access to certain type of stuff stop you from like figuring out and making do with what you do have. Because whatever you do create can be special. Other people will love it. And you can, like, whatever you do is still powerful. Like, it's just super awesome. Like, now we're writing a web series, and it's like kind of really cool that we've like fleshed out these characters and these ideas. And it's like, whoa, you know, we didn't know anything about publishing, and yet we have like an international 14-issue zine. And now it's like in university libraries and stuff. We didn't know anything about publishing, and we just like learned from our mistakes and like picked up and moved on, and like was like, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Let's like keep figuring it out. And we got really good at it. And now we're just trying to transition to writing a web series. And I'm still making zines and like little mini comics and stuff. But do I have an Instagram account? I do. It's at Queen of Tacos TX. Yeah, I don't have like a special art account. It's all the same thing. But I hope you all enjoyed this zine making lesson. We got about like 6 minutes. I don't know if anybody has any final questions or wants to say how their mini zine went. Yeah, find a copy machine and just like, when you go to the copy machine, just open it back up. And so look like this, and just like put it down, and then just hit as many copies as you can get away with. And you'll take them, and then you'll fold them up the same way. If you have relatives or a roommate or a partner, put them to work and say, hey, I got snacks. But use chopsticks because you don't want to fold zines with like Cheeto hands. And just like fold a bunch of zines. Like I make my partner fold like 100 zines the night before Zine Fest. And yeah, and then I show up and I'm like, oh, look at all my zines I made, when he probably has little paper cuts. Yeah. Any last minute questions? We got like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know. I hope this went well. I've never done a workshop via online. So normally I'm like watching everyone and seeing how they're doing. And like sometimes people are like, oh, I messed up. And it's like, hey, it's cool, just start over. Like, this is really quick. I hope y'all like making zines and get into it. There's a lot of really cool zine sites happening online. So I think like today's one of San Francisco's Zine Fest, like Cyberfest, that's going on too, besides Latino Comics Expo. And you can kind of see like zines can really look like anything, and they're all magical and super cool, and you can make them too. Go put them in those little free libraries and stuff. I feel like making one now. Everybody should make zines. It'd be really cool. Like, oh, you're gonna put this in your library newsletter? That'd be really cool. I hope you, yeah. And if you don't know what to write about, like, you know, personal stuff, like if you really like a TV show, you can make a zine about it. Don't worry if your drawings are terrible, because terrible is also awesome. Like, I don't know, I like did a zine that's like really bad Dragon Ball Z character drawing, and people love it. Like, I don't know how to draw anatomically correct people, but like Goku looks super swole with his weird, or just like, you know, he had big lump arms. And it was super awesome. People liked it. Like, no matter what you make, somebody's gonna like it. If they don't like it, you don't want them buying your zine. Let's see. So I hope you'll like this. I don't think we have any more questions, but we still have time. So I'm down to hang out. Or if a moderator wants to jump in and just, you know, tell me it's over, that's also cool. Oh yeah, I made this setup. I just want to show this off because I made it. This is all cardboard that I got for free. Someone was moving. I was like, hey, on Twitter, I was like, who's moving? Like, who's got boxes? And people were like, I got boxes. And so this is all cardboard, and it was free. Yeah, like you can find stuff for free or super cheap. So yeah, these file cabinets, there's like 1, 2, 3, there's like a little mini one. These were also on Facebook Marketplace. That's another thing, Facebook Marketplace. You can get staples, like, and you don't have to pay taxes. You can do staples, paper, office supplies, whatever you want. Now I have a drawer full of paper, and I got this for like $20. I gave it a little spray paint, and now it made me look super professional when I did this with all this paper. What is the coolest, weirdest found object you have put or seen in a zine? Let's see, coolest. Let's see. Giuliani Dondo does a zine, and it's like for hexing somebody. She has some of her zines have like a religious, like Curanera, well, it's like Curanera Press, that's her, one of her labels. And it came with like instructions to how to put a hex on somebody. And then it had like one of those little wax sticks in it, so you could like draw out something and like write their name in it and curse them. That was probably the coolest. Some people add stickers to their zines. Like, I've done that before. I don't know where my zines are at. Okay, yeah. So here's the zine. This zine is pretty cool. I have like 2 minutes. Let's go do this. So this is a zine I made called Winner, and it's used. I have scratch tickets, like lottery scratch tickets, as the cover because they're cardstock. And so this one is a loser, but the zine is called Winner, a lottery zine. And so, yeah, and it also came with like a little sticker in it. And so if you're down to spend that money real quick, like people like it when they come with bonus stuff. So get weird with your zines. Like you can throw in whatever, like stuff you want to curse people with, or you can put stickers, whatever you want. Let's see. Final shout outs. Thank you everyone at MOLA and like Hyundai. By Hyundai. Everyone at MOLA is super great. And that's my timer. But I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. Please wear a mask and social distance. Make zines, everybody. Yeah. Okay, this is over. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Marty, what's up? Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. If you missed any part of it, it's gonna be on the MOLA YouTube. So yeah, I'm gonna leave now.